the top so you can follow the chat.
Oh, okay.
It does cover up everybody's pictures, but
okay. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
All right, well, welcome everybody to our Fame Share Google Hangout. For those of you that were there, we had so much fun and learned a ton. And for those of you who weren't there, we missed you, but we wanted to bring everything back to share with the library media specialists of Palm Beach County. Just a reminder, please keep your microphone muted when you're not speaking, and utilize the chat feature when you have a question. We'll be monitoring that, and we'll get started. Also, please sign in using the link to the Google form in the chat box. The form is going to be open throughout the whole Google Hangout and for 10 minutes after the session concludes.
you might want to throw that in there one more time, Lisa, because there's a couple people that have just joined and they won't see that part of the chat.
Got it.
You did it about a minute or two ago. Do it one more time for them.
I can do that. There's the link.
There you go.
All right. Kathleen Boutte was not able to join us, but she sent her slide in. She attended a workshop on One School, One Book. The objective was to create a feeling of school community, and the entire school reads the same book at the same time. Her preparation steps: choose a book that all can enjoy. Either you read it together or to listen to. Get a copy for each family that can be given to the oldest child in the family. According to her notes, this is probably the most difficult and costly step. These suggestions were grant writing, ask for donations, PTO, create a parent informational letter and promote the idea on social media and the morning announcements. The letter will explain the project's purpose and schedule of dates for reading each chapter. Ask personnel at school to volunteer to be recorded while reading one of the chapters. This is a great idea, but this may be a copyright issue. Uploading the recordings to YouTube so families have the option to listen. I do think that might be a copyright issue, but good idea. And kids are going to be excited to see different people from campus reading the book. If everything's ready, have a kickoff assembly where everyone gets books. Principal and AP read the first chapter. Daily trivia questions on announcements, and a final culminating activity. So I think that would be a great idea if you are able to. I believe Lisa Petrosha at Independence Middle has done this several times with her school. And for more information on this presentation, reach out to Kathleen. All right, Debbie Tanner, you are up.
Hi, everybody. I got some really great ideas for anchoring makerspace projects to some books that I'm hoping to implement soon. There was a lady that did a presentation about specific books and then specific makerspace ideas, and I'm really looking forward to going back and into the PowerPoint and into her PowerPoint and digging through some of those. The other thing that I really love about Fame is that you get a chance to meet authors, and you can see Michelina and David were all sitting at a table, and there was somebody else, I can't remember, I'm sorry. We were all sitting at a table with Kate Messner, and she dared David to eat a cricket, and then he did. So that was really awesome. And my biggest lesson, though, was on my way back, I learned that I need to make sure that I travel with a buddy or two, because no matter how nice I'm trying to be, it turns out things don't always go the way you think they will. And if you have car trouble, it's really good to have a friend along. So that's what I learned.
All right. Next up is David.
I hope my microphone's on.
It is on.
You're okay. Good, David.
Well, basically, Julie and myself, we presented to show the difference between how her makerspace is run and how I try to do the makerspace with more constricted time frames, because since I only have 30 minutes and I have 9 classes back to back, it's really hard unless you plan well. And it's similar to what Debbie just talked about. There was another woman that spoke with us that I'm trying to do almost the exact same thing. And try to add an activity to it. So I did Malia and Joe, for example, and the children in that picture there, they're trying to find things that they could make an airplane after the story itself. And I thought pictures help people. So it's like, these are pictures of how I make mine work. They're all my makerspace stuff is organized into 3 cabinets, and they're on wheels, and I could roll it anywhere in the library that I want to. And then I showed the other 2 parts of the makerspace I have is gadgets and gizmos and puzzles and games with a Lego table.
That looks awesome, David. I haven't been to your space in a while. That looks tremendous.
It was, Julie came to the school many times. We went back and forth, but trying to come up with ideas, since she has a more let's create type of attitude, because the kids have about 50 minutes to be able to do something.
Right. And hers is before, a lot of it's before school, so it's a little bit more free.
Correct. So I was like, how can I do this in 30 minutes? And so we've been doing it with books, similar to what there was another presenter that talked about specifically writing lesson plans to turn it into makerspace with every book. It doesn't matter whatever book it is. She came up with a lesson with it. So that's something that I got from.
That's cool. I really like those the cabinets, the shelves on rollers. Did you have those already?
No, those I purchased through Scholastic.
Scholastic.
Using their Scholastic dollars. And the reason I also like them is since there's no doors on it to lock the stuff, I spin them around on top of one another so that it covers the material, so kids don't just feel free to grab
it after school. But they look great. It's a nice clean look.
And those are all Coach boxes.
They're what kind of boxes?
Coach shoe boxes.
Oh, you are so. How did you get so many Coach pairs of shoes, David?
I went to Resource Depot, and you're only allowed to take so much, but the woman so desperately wanted to get rid of them. So I said, I'll fill up my car till I can't fit anymore. So my car was literally packed with over 100.
They're perfect. They're so like uniform and such a great color. They look awesome.
It worked out.
It looks fantastic. The buzz around Fame after David and Julia's presentation was unbelievable. Everyone, for those of you who weren't there, they actually had people making things in their section, and people were walking around with their creations and so loving it.
Yeah, I just got an email today asking for what books we use to go with the lessons.
So if you're looking for elementary or middle school or high school makerspace ideas, reach out to Debbie and David, Julie and David. They did an amazing job, and they do a fantastic job with this. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, David.
All right, so I went to a presentation called High School Hashtags, and it was all about book recommendations based on important social media movements. And you can see what we're talking about: Read Woke, Own Voices, Me Too, Project Lit, Disrupt Text. And I'm sharing some book ideas. This was put on by Sarah Mantia, she's Collection Development Manager for Children's Plus and Rainbow Book Company. I will post all my notes about this presentation in the Google Classroom and on our Library Media Services webinar hub, because the suggestions were great, and it was about how you can read the old, like one of her examples was reading Fahrenheit 451 and combining it with some newer texts to keep it relevant. It was a really powerful presentation. All right, next up is Shannon.
Is it on?
It is on.
You are on.
Yeah, but now I don't see your presentation. It went away. I don't want to see me.
Click on the snowman. and then click on change layout at the bottom.
Going down. Change layout. Oh. Still me. Change layout.
I would choose sidebar. That should work.
There we go. All right. So this one was session title is Elementary Media Curriculum Skills Checklist. So again, sorry, only for elementary. But this lady did a fantastic job of spelling everything out, and she provided the links. And at the top, when Lisa sends this out, the top link at the top in the aqua color there is the link to her entire presentation. And then down at the bottom is the spreadsheet. So what she did is she broke it down into what do my students need to know: information literacy, literature appreciation, and digital literacy. And then she broke that down even further. And in each of the areas on her digital lesson plan, she has drop-down boxes with the attached standards. And she used Finds, Reads, the Excel. So it is an amazing, what I would have done with this, 15, 20 years coming into the media. This was an amazing, amazing tool, and absolutely should be shared with our, 32 new media specialists this year. So please check it out. The whole presentation was fantastic. And I think I saw 4 or 5 media specialists in there from Palm Beach County, and we all agreed that this was super helpful. So check that one out.
Yeah, there's one of our new people commenting in the chat. She said, thank you, Shannon.
It was very, very helpful. So another one I went to was Voices Matter. And this is, I think, something I need to do more in the media. So I took this to heart. And this is just bulleted points of some of the information they shared. So we had a literacy team meeting this morning at 8:30 in the library. And I told them we were getting ready to plan for Literacy Week in January, and that we had teacher input, administrative input, media input. We actually didn't have any student input into the activities that we planned throughout the whole Literacy Week. So that was the first thing we were going to do. And it was nice because during the presentation, there was an elementary, a middle, and a high school lady presenting, and they all talked about different ways that this looks on their campus. So I'm absolutely going to use some intermediate students and have a student leadership team or advisory team. She said she just started with a few kids, more to get the input and draw the interest. And the second year that she did it, the girl was newer to elementary. She said it grew. The kids were excited. They wanted to be part of it. Just getting feedback, asking them. I know a lot of us do Google Forms, suggestion boxes in the media center about the collection development, but this one maybe they'll have a little more buy-in about things they want to see in the maker space or the thinker space. Some of us do the whiteboard question. She said, if you don't, start small with this or that, or would you rather questions, and then you can get into some super deep questions. And then the last comment was, student displays. And these were amazing what these kids were coming up with. I mean, you could show them Pinterest or, give them, they know how to research. They know how to find stuff. We taught them all that. But to give, some of your kids are so creative, and you should have seen from elementary, middle, and high school, the book displays that they did were absolutely amazing. And getting the tools like, David from Resource Depot, anything that they needed to help supplement, and the kids were oohing and awing over these displays. So those were definitely 2 things I was going to implement this year. So that's it.
All right. Thanks, Shannon.
You're welcome.
All right, Deb, you're up. Deb Bankston, are you there?
Hi, I'm here. Just to kind of reiterate what Shannon said, I made the pink is a hot link to the presentation that Patty Duvall gave for the elementary media curriculum checklist. It was an amazing presentation. She also went over the EXCE or C3EL evaluation tool. Better thing for us to look at. All I can say is if you're an elementary media specialist, you really need to go and check that out because it has so much in it.
Wonderful.
That's it. Sorry, I've been busy with a puppy, so.
No worries, Deb. All right, Steve, you are up.
My takeaways from Fame was a couple of from. Am I on now? Yes.
You are on now.
Allow yourself to prioritize your media center. You can't do everything all the time. You can only usually start one new initiative at a time. Selecting book vendors, be careful to read the fine print. Couple of them, I was at a workshop, people were sharing horror stories, which really pointed that out. Diversify your library, have books that are mirrors and have ones that are windows. Have books that reflect the diversity in your school, and also give students the opportunity to see a world other than their own. Always make your media center a sanctuary for students and information hub for all. One of the things that was suggested, one of the workshops I went to, was simply putting in a coffee maker somewhere in your media center as a way of drawing staff into that space so that they come in and you start to develop a relationship with them and increase the amount of time that they come and cross your path. And the other thing that I found that was interesting was the lady that Holly spoke of that was from Alachua. It was not actually her, but it was someone that I think had worked for them that was now working for a software company. Was talking about comparing digital citizenship curriculums. The two main ones are Google, and the other one was Common Sense. And she was saying that the Alachua County has on their public media site all of the lessons that they've done, all of the resources that they've had, all the information about digital citizenship. And she said, we're open to go and explore that. So I'm going to be checking to see how much materials are actually available through Alachua School District. And that's pretty much it.
Great.
Hope you enjoyed your first Fame.
Yeah, it's funny. Each day after I went home, I literally, by the time I got to the last session, I just kind of went to my hotel and collapsed because it was just the volume that you're taking in, especially the first day where it was the new media specialist session.
Great. All right, Alina, you are up.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So I went to quite a few sessions that I really enjoyed, but to be very honest with you, the ones I enjoyed the most were from our people. And I'm not just saying that because I like you guys. I'm saying it because I feel like we're ahead of the pack in a lot of ways, and we still have a lot to learn. And in that thought process, I am not a great educator of writing. So I went to this Flash Fiction Fest because I'm interested in understanding more about how to really involve high school students in the writing process. And for those of you who don't know, I just completed my first full year as a high school media specialist, and I came from elementary. So it's a lot different than elementary in a lot of ways. So this Flash Fiction Fest, it's something that started in the UK actually, and it's basically run many different ways, but as a competition of writing like short stories, and basically to get kids to understand the craft of their writing. So on the left was like a little tip sheet on how to write a flash fiction, because a lot of times we have students that say, oh, I don't know what to write about. So, they can write on any topic. A lot of times it's timed. There's a word limit. So this particular, these two media specialists put together a flash fiction fest that included an author visit and a writer's workshop, and it was tied into the author, and a competition with giveaways and fun stuff like that. So one of the things they did that was interesting is they gave us all different Ziploc bags with weird items in it. Like one had a cotton ball dipped in something and it smelled very strong, and dog bones and all this crazy stuff. And they asked us to open with a partner, open the bag, use our 5 senses to engage with the item, and then just start writing whatever comes to your mind. And it was pretty interesting to see what some of the stories people came up with, and so it really, especially the sense of smell was a big one for most people. They found it very easy to write about things that instigated a memory. Like this one girl who smelled, we had dog bones, and I was like, bleh, dogs, bleh, bleh. And she's like, oh, so you're a cat person. Anyway, she ended up telling me this story about her sister eating dog bones, and her, like, this whole story. And I'm like, I didn't get that from dog bones. But the next item was something that I engaged with, and she didn't. So it's just giving them lots of opportunities to write about things that either engage a memory or mean something to them. And then I attach this story starter. It's more based on high school, because you can find story starters anywhere for elementary, but it's more difficult. You really have to engage high schoolers and be a little edgier. So these are kind of edgier ones that I found afterwards. So that's that.
All right. Thanks, Alina.
Sure.
All right. So next up is Project Lit. And Jared Amato, the founder of Project Lit, was one of our keynote speakers, but I attended a half-day workshop with him. And it's really a literacy movement more than it is anything else. It's engaging children with relevant literature. This map that he shared, the only 2 states in the whole US that don't have a Project Lit chapter are the ones that are Black. Everything else where you see a graphic, that state has a Project Lit chapter. This was a quote that I loved that he shared, which was, life is too short to read boring books. And there's more to life than reading books by old dead white guys. His idea was that you start with their book list and read the titles, then share them, book talk them, add them to your school, encourage your kids to read Project Lit books, and incorporate them, he's an English teacher, into mini lessons and reading and writing workshops. Organize in-class lit circles with a few copies. Build community with a whole class read. Design lessons and units around these titles, making them a core part of your curriculum. And empower students to organize Project Lit book clubs as you read and discuss and celebrate these incredible titles with your school and community. I've been a fan of his for quite some time. Last year, while I didn't have an official Project Lit book club, we read a Project Lit title, and the response from my students was unbelievable. They were sneaking the books in math class. And these are not your typical readers. These are kids that started off with, oh, Miss, why are you making me read? I really want to be outside playing basketball, because we did it during aftercare. And I started with, give me 50 pages and talk to me and see how you think. The very next day, every last one of them had read more than 50 pages. Can we read further? The conversations that these books spark for our students are so powerful. Having a conversation about implicit bias with 5th graders was mind-boggling. And we concluded with a Google Hangout with the author. What we read was one of the titles on the middle grades list, which was Ghost Boys. And that's for kids anywhere between 4th and like 8th to 9th grade. These are their selections for high school, and these are the selections for middle school, although many of them are elementary appropriate. I highly, highly recommend checking out Jared, checking out Project Lit. These are some of the hashtags to follow, the Twitter handles, the Facebook, the Instagram. It's well worth your time. The most telling thing was we all wanted, every principal wants this tied to data, and the members of the original Project Lit book community, their ACT scores went up based on what they were doing. It was unbelievable. So check that out. All right, Suzette, you're up. If she can get there.
Can you guys hear me?
Can.
Hey, all right, so I had to step out of like an Avid site team meeting. So I don't want to repeat what Lisa was saying about Project Lit, but it was amazing. He did inspire me to just jump in and stop like over planning, because sometimes I like hold back on doing things because I'm like trying to make it perfect instead of just like jumping into something, you know? So probably other than Project Lit, like I had 2 really great breakout sessions. I had a lot of breakout sessions that I liked, but one of them that was really amazing had to do with this database that UCF is putting together. And I put the link on there for you guys. Ooh, I just got a lot of feedback.
You're good.
Okay, that was weird. So I've got this, the links on there, that this database that UCF's putting together. But basically, like, we all know that when we try to search for books in Destiny or whatever, there's not a lot of information in the MARC record. Like, if you're trying to find like a biracial adoptive family, like, good luck trying to find that in Destiny. So UCF is putting together this like searchable database, and it's totally free. And so you can find things to help make your collection more diverse. And so that's on there. They're working on it. They're constantly adding to it. And what they're also doing is they're having their College of Education students, since the College of Education students have to make lesson plans anyway, make lesson plans that go with these books that you can just like click and download instead of like paying teachers pay teachers. So that's all being worked on. And then there was a lot of discussion about like the Library of Congress and MARC records and advancing things, but it was just a very cool breakout session, and it's a very cool link, and I'm excited to play on that. And not just for my own media center, but even for my kids in like their home library, you know. They gave an example, it's kind of a good example for those of you that are like middle or upper grade. Jason Reynolds' Long Way Down doesn't come up under gang violence or like African-American literature, according to like its MARC record. So that would be something that you might miss if you were like looking for a story of gang violence or something like that. I got to attend sessions on Google Hangouts with authors. It was amazing. That was put on by some of our Palm Beach County representatives. I went to a breakout on the Gale mental health resources that they have. It was a good reminder that I need to do a better job of advocating for that at school. I got a lot of great ideas on Florida Teen Reads and what to do with that. Yeah, that was it.
All right. I will piggyback onto what Suzette said about the database from UCF. Oh my goodness. And they are beginning to try and advocate to publishers to work with the Library of Congress to have better MARC records so that this database is less of a Band-Aid. So I highly recommend that everyone checks this out. It's a work in progress, and it's definitely a labor of love on the part of the librarians who are putting it together. Also, UCF has a great lending library full of books that we can use in our lesson plans, and everyone is entitled to use that. So I highly recommend checking that out. And if there are books that you need for lessons in your library, try and borrow them from UCF. All right, Holly, you're up.
Okay, and mine is a shameless plug, but before I do that, I want to give a shout out to Suzette. You guys might not have caught this in the different presentations that Jared Amato gave, but we have 2 Project Lit chapters that he highlighted in one of the presentations I was in where he was leading it. Suzette was one at Wellington High and Marge at Golden Grove. So we actually have 2 Project Lit chapters, and we'd love to have a lot more, but it was really cool when he threw up his slide to see that we already had 2 schools participating. So yay for Suzette and for Marge. And then a shameless shout out about the Gale mental health resources. We own K through 12, a collection of ebooks that are multi-simultaneous use. You can find them on your Gale tile under ebooks. It's called the Cameron Collection. And it's dedicated to a young woman who lost her life to suicide. But they're grouped appropriately, and your kids connect to only the shelf that is for their school. So therefore, if they're elementary, they see the elementary ones. They're on bullying, all different aspects, and the high school ones get more mature and so on. And we bought as much as we could that year of the mental health ebooks from Gale. So would love to see them promoted. It's such a important issue right now. So take a look at those, and if you can't find them, reach out to me, and I'll send you some screenshots so you can find our Gale mental health resources. So on the resource note, Teaching Books was at FAME. I don't know if you stopped by and saw their booth, but they have recently updated their the whole configuration of their tool. We have had Teaching Books since its inception. It's always been a good tool, but they have made it even better. My one tip I want to share today is that if you go to the Teaching Books site and there is a tile in your portal, just click it. If you click the toggle menu, you'll get prompted or get offered an opportunity to create what they call an educator login. It's pretty simple. You need to use your Palm Beach School District email to do it, because then they know that you're a subscriber. There's a little link there to a video on how to do it. It's their video. But here's the reason to make an educator login. Even though we authenticate directly, you can use the resource. You don't have to have an educator login. If you go through our tile, it knows you're paying for a subscription. You see, my screen is a screenshot of their landing page. You see that it's custom Palm Beach County School District, welcome to Teaching Books. And that's what you get when you click your tile. But if you make an educator login, you can share and save and print a whole lot of very cool resources that you could use in your library. You can make flyers, shelf talkers. There's a ton of stuff. You can make custom lists. So I just wanted to highlight today, just for the sake of brevity, the educator login. I'm hoping to do a presentation at the tech conference about how you can use Teaching Books to connect your digital to your print to the digital resources through some of their tools, and how to advertise your library using the resources in Teaching Books. So watch for that session at the tech conference, and we hope you'll join us. And that's it.
All right. Jennifer Berlatsky is one of our new media specialists, and she was not able to join us today. She got called away, but she did send in her slides. She chose to highlight our opening keynote speaker, Nick Stone, who shared with us her acronym RHINOs for respect, humility, investigative, savvy, nuance, optimism, openness, and self-care. It was a wonderful presentation. Her books are great. I highly recommend them. Dear Martin, Jackpot, and I can't remember the third. And she has a middle grades one coming out. I believe it's in January. So check her out. She was wonderful. And then Jennifer highlighted, she went to a workshop on digital citizenship. It looks like she's got some links about getting the word out about digital citizenship, all kinds of different curriculums.
It looks like, Lisa, this is the website that Steve was referring to. This is the landing page for the Alachua Public School. digital citizenship that Steve said he was going to explore. That looks like that's the landing page right there.
So Jennifer provided us all with a link to this. I would check that out. That is one of the most important things we can teach our students, is to be good digital citizens. So as per usual, please tag us on social media. We want to see what you're doing. Tagging us helps us see it, and then we can share it and be amazed by the wonderful things that you do. I'm going to turn it back over to Holly.
Just want to plug the tech conference January 6th, and to clarify, and this was on our little calendar that we put out in the Open Me First, because they placed the tech conference on the PD day, January 6th, we are not having our own sessions at a different location. Lisa and I are both applying to present at the tech conference. There will be a bunch of other media specialists presenting. Perhaps some of you that are on today are already signed up to present. And there'll be other tech things that will be valuable to you as a media specialist. So instead of us competing, we are joining them at the tech conference Monday, January 6th from 8 to 3:30 at Santa Lucia's. And we will send out an advertisement and some more clarification, but pass the word, because we've already gotten emailed once today. Are we having PD on January 6th? So yes and no, but no, we're going to the tech conference. So just to clarify, pass it around.
All right, does anyone have any questions about things that we've shared today from our presenters? Feel free to chime in. Something else you saw that you'd like to share if you were at FAME and you didn't make a slide and want to share something, now would be your time.
I had a quick question.
Sure.
They mentioned that everything, all the proceedings from the conference were going to be uploaded onto the FAME website. How is that? Do they have a tile, or do they have something that you can click on that indicates, that it's the 2019 FAME conference information? Or
Yeah, as of yet, they have not appeared to upload anything directly to the site. Our very own Rebecca Raddick is the webmaster, so you can ask her.
Okay.
She's the media specialist at Atlantic High School, but they did say that they were going to. Oh,
Yeah.
and David was
See,
told
David
it's gonna
said-
take about 10 days.
Yes, see David's comment. Remember, it's Monday. The conference ended Friday.
Oh,
And
no. I wasn't looking for
Yeah.
it, but I just wanted to know when.
yeah, it'll take a while. And the other thing, it may very well be uploaded by Rebecca, but it also might come through. Once you click on the conference page off of the FAME website, you are on pages that are provided by the event company called Event Power. It might be their responsibility to collect all that from the presenters. I'm not sure, who, kind of like who's on first, who's going to actually do that. But I would just keep checking the website and see. But also don't give up if you don't see it right on the front page of the FAME website. Try looking at the conference webpage again too, because Event Power is in charge of collecting all that, because they would be in charge of contacting like the presenters and stuff. So it's a thought, just a guess.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for that too. So if I see it, I'll send it out too.
Vicki Drescher just asked, what was the date for FAME 2020? The dates for FAME 2020 are November 4th through 6th in Orlando. I highly recommend going. If you weren't able to go this year, now is the time to put it on your calendar. Give yourself a reminder about asking your principal to go. Any other questions before we move on?
That's correct, Debbie. It's going to be at the Rosen Center again. So same location, almost the same time frame, basically the same time frame.
All right, our next Google Hangout will be December 10th. Topic to be determined. Watch your inbox for calendar invites. And on our new Library Media Services webinar hub, we have a form where you can request learning. So if there's a topic you'd like us to cover in one of these webinars, please feel free to fill that out. We would love to have your input on the things that we present. I would highly recommend making a tile for it in your portal. That way you don't have to search for it. The new Google Sites does not let us share it the same way as the old one does. In order to not have to search for the link, I would make a tile. If you need directions on that, email me and I will send them to you. This is just the form. Points. This course is live and e-learning. You can earn up to 14 points for attending these Google Hangouts. You do have to attend the sessions live. For points for one session, you have to do the corresponding follow-up. For points for 2 and 3 sessions, you do the corresponding follow-ups. If you attend more than 3 sessions, you can choose a variety of the activities you'd like to do. You only have to do 3. So if you want the points for attending 5 sessions, you still only have to do follow-up for 3 of them. And the follow-up for this webinar will be to create a document and tell us one thing you learned during the FAME share that you're going to implement in your media center. Take a photo of that idea in action and paste it into your document. Save the document as your last name _FAME and upload it to e-learning. Just a reminder, if you want points for these Google Hangouts, to please sign in using the form. We will keep the form open for about 10 minutes following the conclusion of this Google Hangout. Deb Bengston just asked if we're going to have a presence in the vendor hall at the tech conference. That would be an ed tech question. I don't know is the answer. I don't know if we're going to have a presence in the vendor hall or not. But that would be something to ask ed tech. Any other questions before we sign off?
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming, sharing, joining in.
Thank you for everything, guys. You're the best.
Thank you, guys.
See you soon.